Hi, I'm Nick Owen and I present BBC Midlands Today from the mailbox in Birmingham. Things were different where I grew up because I grew up in a small town in the Chiltern Hills between Luton and Watford, and that's where I come from, and I still have very strong affection for that part of the world, my spiritual home in many ways. But I actually went away to boarding school from the age of 7, so I spent a lot of my early life in Shrewsbury. In fact, that's where I went to school from the age of 7 till 18, although I came home for school holidays. But so I got used to being away from home, got used to other parts of the world. So that was in the West Midlands, of course, geographically, but nowhere near Birmingham. The only time I saw Birmingham in those days was going through it on the train on the way back to school. And it was always sort of a bit grim on a sort of, late afternoon. I was heading back to school when I felt a bit depressed anyway. So I didn't get an idea of Birmingham at all until much, much later, after I'd done school, university, started in journalism on a newspaper in Yorkshire, the Doncaster Evening Post, and after I'd been there for a while and qualified as a journalist and so on, got my NCTJ exam, all the shorthand and the newspaper law, I then applied to the Birmingham Post because I wanted to move on, wanted to move to a city, wanted to move to a morning paper for a change from an evening paper. And I got a job on the Birmingham Post. That's what brought me to the Midlands, end of 71, beginning of 72. When I first came to Birmingham on the Birmingham Post, Pebble Mill had only just opened, and it was a very exciting place because loads of big television was going on there. There were sort of entertainment shows, there were dramas going on, loads of dramas that became really very, very popular in this country were all filmed at Pebble Mill, things like All Creatures Great and Small, Howard's Way, Poldark, Boys from the Black Stuff, Gangsters, lots of really good stuff came out of there. I mean, it was still a vibrant city in its own way, very much a manufacturing place and a lot going on, but it didn't have the sort of the clubs or the sort of shops and things in the same way as it does today in all the facilities. It did have cinemas, did have theatre and so on, but it just wasn't anything like as vibrant as it is now. For instance, working on the Birmingham Post, I didn't finish work at the earliest till after 10 o'clock, right? Sometimes later, and there was only 2 places I knew of where you could get a drink after that time. That's all a bit different now, isn't it? The main thing that happened in my early days in Birmingham was the city elders had this idea for building an exhibition centre, which became the NEC. So from scratch on this wasteland outside Birmingham, created this huge area, which suddenly made Birmingham an international attraction, brought people in, and people who came in all needed to stay at hotels and go to restaurants and so on. And so it seems to me that from that followed the idea of having a sort of exhibition centre or some sort of big centre that would attract international interest in the centre of Birmingham. I think the Town Hall is a magnificent building. I mean, it looks brilliant since its revamp. I mean, that had a massive refurbishment. And I've been to loads of events there. I've presented television programmes from in there, but I've seen pop music in there. I mean, that's got such a history. You know that the Beatles played in there, Buddy Holly played in there. Charles Dickens did his first ever public reading of A Christmas Carol in there. So that place is absolutely smacks of sort of brilliant history. I love that. I think Victoria Square is beautiful, and I think the Council House is a magnificent building. I think the NIA, not the prettiest place, but is excellent for what it does, and I've seen some terrific events in there, such as the World Indoor Athletics Championships. And then there's Brindley Place and all the restaurants, and the buzz around the canal I think is excellent, and the mailbox where I work, and some lovely restaurants around there. Further afield, I think Cannon Hill Park, it's a wonderful green area in the city. I love the Botanical Gardens in Edgbaston, absolutely marvellous, beautiful place. And I used to take my children there when they were little. I'm now going there with my grandchild, which is just amazing. And there's the sporting facilities in Birmingham. I'm a sports nut, I'm chairman of a football club. I love going to games at Aston Villa or West Bromwich Albion or Birmingham City, and Wolves not so far away, Walsall, Coventry. There's cricket, one of the top test grounds in the world, Edgbaston, which has just had a big, big new stand built, which should be open this year for the test match against India. It's got so much, Birmingham, and the beauty about it is that it's all within easy reach. Now in London you've got facilities as well, massive facilities like the Oval and Lord's and all the theatres and cinemas, but travelling 3 or 4 miles in London could take you an hour and a half. Not like that in Birmingham. That's the beauty. It's a microcosm of all the sort of facilities of the capital without the hassle. I've done my time in London, I went there at the dawn of breakfast television, had a flat in London, and it was an exciting time in some ways. But I don't miss London at all. It is so big and so anonymous and so uncommunity-ish. I much prefer the feeling and the warmth of Birmingham. And that's about all from me. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.